What's up, guys? Welcome to the Zed Again family. Now, first, before we get into anything today, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to anybody out there taking a listen. And secondly, before we get into anything else, I just want to say thank you for stopping by and checking out the show today. And I just really hope you enjoy it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very special episode. Not only is it on Thanksgiving, but it's also the first episode of the series. That's right, it's going to be the first of many. We're going to have weekly episodes, and it's just going to be a fun time of me doing something I love. Now, I'm extremely grateful. I'm blessed that God allowed me to do this, to talk about something I love and be able to share with other people. Now, before we jump into any topics today, I'm going to go ahead and give you a little bit of background about myself so that y'all know a little bit about me and I'm not just some random person talking into your ear. Now, growing up, I played sports all my life. I played football, basketball, baseball, ran track, soccer, basically anything with a ball I played it. And that goes for my siblings too. I come from a real sportsy family, so it's always been around my whole life, and I've always loved it, and I've always loved talking about it. And I finally sat down one day, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make a podcast to share my thoughts with other people, because I can talk about sports with pretty much anybody, family, friends, coworkers, somebody I met yesterday, and it's just really something that I love to do. So I just said, you know what, I'm gonna grab a mic, gonna record my thoughts, and I'm just gonna upload them to y'all. Now let's go ahead and jump into these topics today. And of course, the first sport that I want to start it off with was the NBA. And the first player I wanted to start it off with was Wardell Stephen Curry II. Now, Steph has been playing out of his mind this season. He looks very good. The Warriors look very good as a whole. Right now, currently, they're 12-6. They have the third best record in the Western Conference, and they are possible finals contenders, if you ask me. Now, with that being said, if Steph Curry can make it to the finals and win another ring to make that five, does that move him past LeBron in the GOAT argument? I believe so, only because Steph has beat LeBron multiple times in the finals. So I just believe that if you beat somebody when it matters most multiple times and then you surpass them in rings, how could you not be above them in the argument? Or if it doesn't put him above LeBron in the argument, it definitely inserts Steph into that door with, Kobe, Jordan, LeBron, and it seems like nobody else is going to open that door. But if Steph wins another one, he's definitely opened that door and he has a foot in. Now, the NBA right now is a very explosive game, super high scoring, people chunking threes left and right. So I was looking at the MVP rankings, man, and honestly, the stats that some of these guys have are crazy. But if you ask me right now if the season was in to end today, even though it just started, I would have to give the MVP to Jokic. Right now, he averages 30, 14, and 12. He also has the Nuggets at 10-7 as the 7th seed in the West, which isn't all that great. But considering those stats and how dominant he is when he's on the floor, I don't see anybody else passing him up. Now, Tatum actually looks very good too. He's averaging 38-6. And the Celtics are always going to be good. They're 15-3. They're second in the East behind the Cavs. And Tatum has just really excelled this year. If you ask me, I feel like he's playing better. He's actually using the rim, using his height, shooting more mid-range jumpers. And of course, he's chunking that three ball, but you can't be mad at him if they're going in. You feel what I'm saying? And behind Tatum, we got AD, who has been on a monster run with the Lakers right now. He's currently averaging 31, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Their Lakers are 11-7. They're fifth in the West right now. And when AD is on the court, they're just a significantly better team. It's nothing he can't do. When he's on the floor, he's actually grabbing boards this year. He's abusing the post. He's working his touch around the rim. And AD is just playing at a very high level since the Pelicans. He looks excellent this year. And last but not least, we got Giannis, and he's averaging 32, 12, and 6. With the squad that he has, he's really doing it all out there. And to have that team as the fifth in the East, that says a lot about Giannis's contribution. Now if you ask me to clear cut right now, as I said before, it's Jokic, but Tatum, AD, and Giannis, they're all right there. I feel like that's just a little group that's bunched together. And the last thing I wanted to talk about with the NBA, man, I just had to mention LeBron. Now, me, I'm a top tier LeBron hater. I can't stand him. On that basketball court, I can't stand him. But outside the court, I love the guy. But I just have to give credit where it's due. LeBron is in his 22nd season, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And right now, he's averaging 24, 8, and 9 on 51% shooting. LeBron is old enough to be my father. And don't listen to me. I really can't stand the guy. But he's old enough to be my father, and he's averaging these numbers, shooting 51%. I just have to give credit where it's due, man. He looks good this year. He's leading that team, of course, to the best way possible. They look like a playoff team this year. I wouldn't say a contender, but they're a serious playoff team this year. Now that we're done talking about that, we're gonna go ahead and move over to the football section of the podcast. And the first thing I just want to jump into, everybody says that the MVP is a QB award. And I feel like, honestly, even though Lamar is the clear favorite, well, he's not the clear favorite. It's between Lamar and Josh Allen, the toss up. Should Saquon Barkley and Jamar Chase have their names up there in the MVP race? Now, Saquon is absolutely killing it this year with the Eagles. He's killing it. He looks good. When he has a big run, he's finishing those runs. He's actually scoring. He's getting into the end zone. Well, he should have more touchdowns, but we're not even going to get into that. But Saquon recently just had 255 yards, a career high, against the Rams. He's currently first in yards, carries, and he's fourth in touchdowns with 10. Now, Saquon is on pace to break 2,000 yards, and that's a feat that only few running backs have. And I just think that his name should be up there because he's averaging 6.2 yards per carry, and he's also killing it in the air for the Eagles. He has 2 receiving touchdowns, and he has 250 yards on the air. So Saquon is just doing it all. I'm not saying he should win or be a clear favorite, but I feel like his name honestly should be in the race. Now, we're going to go ahead and jump over to Jamar Chase's case. Jamar has 73 receptions, 1,056 yards, and 12 TDs. He's currently first in yards, and he's first in receiving TDs. He's third in receptions behind CD at 77, and I can't remember the other guy off the top of my head, but he's close. He's right there. So Jamar possibly winning the Triple Crown. I believe his name should be in that MVP conversation. I say at least top 5, but it would be hard too because his team also isn't looking too hot right now. So that might be his case. But Saquon, if you ask me, he definitely deserves a shot. He deserves a fair shot. Now, as I mentioned, talking about those two, bringing up the MVP, and it looks like we're about to have an MV3 back to back. Does no Super Bowl for Lamar Jackson equal a failure this year? Now, me honestly, I love Lamar Jackson. He's everything that a quarterback should be to me. He passes well. His passing game has excelled over the years. This year, I feel like he's making throws that a pocket passer will make, like a Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning. And when he uses his legs, I don't even want to compare him to Michael Vick because it's like something we've never seen before. The way he can move around the pocket, escape the pressure, create big plays, give himself time to find the open guy down the field. It's nothing like it, man. Now Lamar in the MVP conversation, if you ask me, he has that on lock. He's killing it this year. He looks great, but the team doesn't look that great. And that's the only problem with Lamar. Now, I say that he has, not this year, but he does need to win soon because that would just solidify his name in there with the greats. That's the only thing he's missing is that ring. So I do feel like it would, I wouldn't say a failure, but because he's had a great career up to now. So I wouldn't say it's a failure, but it would definitely help his greatness and his legacy. Now, right now, the Lions are currently everybody's number one team in the NFL. If you turn on any show, ESPN, uh, ABC, anything, all you're gonna hear is Detroit, Detroit, Detroit. And I just really want to say, are they really the best team in the NFL right now? Now, the only reason I say that, because let's look at the stats. The Lions, they average 32 points per game, which is first. And their defense is only allowing 17 points per game, which is second. Now, the Lions are averaging 395 yards a game, which is abysmal, but they're second in the league. They're fourth in rushing yards and they're third in passing yards. And as we all know, they're 10-1 right now. Now, to me, they've played some teams with some winning records, but if you ask me, the only two teams I would say that they played that are actually good are the Vikings, the Packers, and the Texans. And the only reason I really don't want to count the Packers is because Jordan Love was clearly injured. I feel like he was rushed back. He wasn't able to play like himself, step into his throws, be mobile around the pocket, escape pressure. And then Jair Alexander also didn't play. Now, Jair not playing for the Packers, that's a big no-no because that changes the whole defensive scheme. And I just feel like, they're when they play now, they did win all those games. I'm not knocking them for that. They're winning the games they're supposed to. I'm not knocking them for that. But I feel like when they play a good team, they're winning 3, 7, 10 points. You know, I feel like of course they're Super Bowl contenders, but I feel like they're very beatable. They're not what everybody thinks they are. Now, transitioning from that, I just want to go ahead and just talk about the Cowboys. And the question for them is it time to blow it up? You know, y'all they're 4-7 right now. Uh, they have no run defense, no rushing attack. So the thing is now it's like you just signed Dak, you just signed CD. So now it's to the point to where it's like, okay, this clearly isn't working. What are we going to do to fix it? Now, Jerry Jones, I myself, I don't know what goes on in his head, man. You had the chance to sign Derrick Henry this offseason. Derrick Henry is basically begging you to sign him. He's talking about how he lives in Dallas, he works out in Dallas, and you say, you know what, I want to pass on Derrick Henry. He wants too much, and now this is what we got. Now the Cowboys are 31st in rushing, 31st, and Derrick Henry is killing it with the Ravens, and that's just something you missed out on, and he wasn't even asking for a lot of money. Now, also it's hard for the Cowboys because they're I can see them having like a 10 through 15 pick, and it's like, do you want to draft a running back with that pick? Because my thing is, if you're gonna tank, you want to tank all the way, because the talent that's gonna be gone in those first 10 spots at that receiver and D lineman position and in tackles. It's just hard though for the Cowboys because, you know, do you really want to go D lineman again after Mozzie Smith from Michigan? Do you really want to go D lineman from Michigan again? So I can see them getting a running back. I don't know why they wouldn't in the first round, honestly, to honestly just fix that rushing attack. 31st rushing is just not good. Rico Dowdle, he's just not the guy for you. He's just not it. As respectfully as possible, of course. But he's just not that guy. So another question I was asking too, you're only at 4 wins. Of course, anything can happen, but do the Cowboys try to tank and enter that Travis Hunter sweepstakes? Or just have a top 3 pick? Because I feel like with a top 3 pick, you would be able to trade back and just get so much value out of that due to the talent that's available in those top 3 spots. So it's just going to be interesting. We're going to see here what the Cowboys do. Of course, it's today. Today they have the Giants for Thanksgiving. I wonder how they're going to look. Of course, I have them winning. It's the Giants. They just got rid of their QB. So that's a whole different team over there. It's basically tank versus tank. It's a war out there. It's tank versus tank. It's going to be who wants to lose this game more. And the next thing I wanted to move into was this Rookie of the Year race, man. Now, up until I'd say 2 weeks ago, Jaden Daniels was the clear Rookie of the Year favorite. But Bo Nix, I feel, has made that a side-by-side race. Looking at Bo Nix stats, let's just go through them, man. He has 2,548 passing yards, 16 TDs, 6 interceptions, 4 rushing TDs, and 300 rushing yards. Now, in passing yards, he's 13th in the league, and in touchdowns, he's 11th. And I feel like that's a really good pace for a rookie, And he did start off kind of bad because look at these numbers. Since October 1st, Bo Nix has 1,615 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 picks in 7 games. So ever since October 1st, Bo Nix has looked excellent. He's looked like the Rookie of the Year as of late, but he definitely made it a side-by-side race. you still had to put respect on Daniels. They both of their teams have the same record, and the Commanders are just on a bad, just hot, cold streak right now. And when they snap it, I feel like Daniels is gonna shoot right back up in that Rookie of the Year race. But I believe as of right now, it's a side by side race, man. And Daniel's numbers as well, man. He has 2,600 passing yards. He has 12 TDs and 5 picks, but he also has more rushing TDs at 5, and he has more rushing yards at 556. Now, we're going to go ahead and take a little Thanksgiving pick 'em break right now. We're done with the NFL and the games that we have today. By the time you listen to this, I think the Bears and Lions will be playing. Now, this is a no-brainer. I believe it's going to be closer than people think just because it's a division game and the Bears have an all right defense. So, I'm going to say Lions win this one. I say by no more than 10 points. Now the next game after that, we have the Giants and the Cowboys. Everybody should be eating by then. This is gonna be, like I just said earlier, tank versus tank, World War III. Uh I think I don't think it would be smart for the Cowboys. Really, it's not smart for either of these teams to win. I believe the Cowboys are going to, though, because they just can't do anything right. They can't even tank right. So I got the Cowboys winning. In the late game, I forgot to tell y'all earlier. I don't know how I forgot this. I am a huge Packers fan. Packers all day. Go Pack Go. It's no way we lose to the Dolphins in 23-degree weather. And Tua is 0-7 in games below 40 degrees. So we're playing, of course, in Green Bay. It's going to be 23 degrees. I just don't see no way on God's green earth that we lose this game. Now, that's done with the NFL, man. We're going to go ahead and sneak our way into college football. And the first topic of this one is, can 3-loss Alabama still sneak their way into the playoffs? I'm an Alabama fan, so it might sound a little biased, but I'm going to say if two teams lose, I believe that Alabama can somehow slip their way in there. We obviously see that the committee loves Alabama. We just got took behind the woodshed by 5-5 Oklahoma, and they put us as the second team out. I believe that Ole Miss losing actually helped us a lot because it really put us in that spot just outside of the playoffs. And let me stop saying us. I don't want to say I'm biased. So it put Alabama right outside of the playoffs. So I feel like the committee really wants them in there. And I feel like it's a way they can sneak in. Only two teams have to lose. Clemson, and I can see probably Miami losing again, or Indiana. If one of those teams lose, Alabama will sneak their way in there. It would be crazy, but who cares? It's Alabama. We all want to see them in the playoffs. Who doesn't want to see them? Now, as I was saying regarding Alabama losing and Ole Miss losing, now is the SEC spiraling downwards after those two losses? Now, Oklahoma and Florida, they are SEC teams, so they are able to compete against SEC teams. But everybody's argument now is we don't need to put that many SEC teams into the playoffs because they're losing. But the thing is, they're losing to very good teams in that conference. So my thing is, I don't think the SEC is spiraling downwards. It's just that conference plays each other super hard. So the games are always going to be tight, uh super close, physical, a lot of defense, and especially if the good team is at the sorry team's home, it's hard to win those games, man. That home field and their advantage in college is real. So I don't think the SEC is spiraling downwards, man. I think they're still, at the end of the day, top dog conference. I believe a SEC team will win the playoff, well, the national championship. It's not even close. Those teams, they can't compete. Now, the biggest thing in college football right now is the Heisman race. And the reason that it is huge is because it is, do you want the best running back in college since probably, I don't want to say Barry Sanders, but yeah, Barry Sanders? Or do you want a two-way phenom who everybody loves, is super flashy? He has numbers. I wouldn't say they're quite Heisman numbers, but he has numbers. So he deserves to be up there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not throwing any hate his way. Uh sorry. Not throwing any hate his way. He has the numbers, but it's just hard, man, cuz Genty right now, he has 275 carries, 2,062 yards, 27 TDs, averaging 7.5 yards per carry. Everything I just said sounds like he's playing Road to Glory in college football 25. His stats are crazy. You know, uh, he's first in everything in the country when it comes to rushing. Uh, he's great after contact. He's patient. He has great balance. I really said that, he reminds me of Le'Veon Bell a bit. How he's able to just be so patient, find the right hole, and excel and burst once you have that space. Now that's Genty's case with me. Now Travis Hunter, man, he has 82 receptions on the year, 1,036 yards, 11 TDs on the offensive side of the ball. Now on the defensive side, he has 30 tackles, 9 PBUs, 3 picks, and a forced fumble. Now he's having, good seasons. Let me not say good seasons. He's doing good on both sides of the ball. But my thing is, he's not number one at either of those positions, if you ask me. And not hating on him, but there are just clear number ones when it comes to receiver and DB. And that is Tatoria McMillan out of Arizona and Will Johnson out of Michigan. Now, Trav, he's having a great year. I just feel like Genty is having a greater year. So if you ask me, man, unfortunately, you have to pick between the two. But I'd give it to Genty, man. What he's doing is just, it's unreal. It's greatness. That's what we're witnessing. Now, the college football playoff bracket just came out on Tuesday night, and I couldn't wait to talk about this one, man. So the way it is, Oregon, Texas, Boise, and Miami, they're the top 4 seeds, so they all have bye weeks. And then the games that we have, man, we got Tennessee versus Georgia, SMU versus Notre Dame, Indiana versus Penn State, and then Arizona State versus Ohio State. Now, I'm actually right here looking at a picture of the bracket, but it looks like that the strong side of the bracket would be Oregon side and Ohio State side. Over there on that side is Georgia and Tennessee, and then Arizona State versus Ohio State. So that means Texas and Miami would play the winners of Notre Dame and SMU and Indiana and Penn State. And I feel like for those two schools, those are not easy games, but better games than playing Ohio State or Georgia or Tennessee. You know what I mean? So right now, they have what's crazy is they have Boise State, which is a G5 school, with the bye week over a Big 12 conference championship winner. And that's crazy to me because I believed that the Big 12 was going to get that fourth bye spot as a conference winner, but I recently just found out that it's actually the conference champions with the best records. So that's how it goes. So the way it's looking now, man, it's only going to be one Big 12 school that gets in. And from looking off the top of my head, man, it's about 3 SEC teams, and it is 4 Big Ten teams. So I just believe even though it's more Big Ten teams, man, I still feel like SEC all the way, man. SEC is gonna win this whole thing. And if it's anybody out the SEC that'll win, I think it's Oregon. Oregon is just high powered on offense, a very good defense this year. They have all the tools to compete with the SEC school. That out of any other non-conference schools out the SEC, I feel like Oregon has all the tools to compete. And as I'm recording this, Blake Snell has recently, maybe a couple hours ago, just signed with the Dodgers. And sorry for jumping off of college football like that, but that was just in my head, man. I can't believe that I can't believe that the Dodgers had enough money. But I can't believe they got previous Cy Young winner Blake Snell. Now, Blake Snell last year, he had an all right year, you know. He went 5-3 in his WL. He had a 3.1 ERA, and he had 145 strikeouts on 104 innings pitched. But what this does for the Dodgers lineup is bring in a lefty, a strong-handed lefty that can get batters out in almost any situation. So the Dodgers just got 10 times scarier than what they were last year. And all of his money is deferred, so he's not even going to take a big quote unquote cap hit. And then another big thing that just happened today is Daniel Jones has been released from the Giants and signed with the Minnesota Vikings. And the thing with that is, I say, okay, so did the Minnesota Vikings sign him to start him? Because they look good with Sam Darnold. So I don't see what's the point of going away from it. So did they sign him to start him, or what's the plan there? And it's really just crazy that he got another job. I really can't believe it because he's subpar. He's below average. Just not a good quarterback. Not an NFL quarterback. So I'm surprised he got another job somewhere else. You know, congratulations to him. Congrats on the Giants for releasing him. Now you might actually be able to find a QB in the draft who can make it work for you. But that's not why we went over there. You know, it was just some breaking news that happened. And that's the end of the show today, man. I just want to say thank you for stopping by. Thank you for listening, man. Please share this with anybody who would be interested. And I just hope that y'all have a great Thanksgiving. I hope that food is good. And y'all just have a good day, man. We'll be back at it next Wednesday at 7 o'clock. Bye.